You have it spread all over to the bone marrow, sometimes to the head. And so we get a lot of cases coming in, but unfortunately they come in quite late. But for those that we say we'll be able to treat that are not late, so for the late cases, we can only offer them what we call palliative care, that is pain control and controlling other symptoms. So unfortunately, the inevitable would happen. But for those that are treatable, I would say like the kidney cancers, we get about 70% long-term cure for the kidney cancers, okay? The eye cancers, parents, unfortunately, when they come in, because they're told one eye would have to be removed and they'll put an artificial eye there, quite often they leave and don't come back early to tell, over 70% with us. But in the advanced countries, it will be over 90% because they would even detect it when the child is a baby. Yes, unfortunately, and telling the staff there, not the baby, but the mother would tell the staff there that when they're going for weighing, that, oh, I've seen a shiny white spot in the eye. Unfortunately, the health workers might tell them, oh, that's how the child was born, and it's nothing. So the parents go back falsely, and that treatment can be given, and the child would be saved, alive, with 90 to 95% chance of long-term cure.
I'm saying it now, that child treatment.
We have 3 main modalities of therapy. We have surgery and we have radiotherapy, whatever affected part it is. And then radiotherapy is using a sort of stronger form of X-ray to sort of focus and burn off the tumor. Then in addition to this, we also have the supportive part of the care, where
often to children because their cancers
of the care, where
often to children because their cancers respond most of the time to chemotherapy and surgery. Brain tumors, unfortunately, brain tumors tend not to present early because we need to do a brain scan, a child complains of headache, that it makes treatment difficult. But childhood brain tumors also, after surgery, quite often they would need radiotherapy for that.
When it comes to childhood cancers, we need a psychotherapist, we need a social worker, we need a play therapist, we do need a dietitian because with chemotherapy or radiation, it gives you this weird taste in your mouth. They are not able to eat. Sometimes they come with oral ulcers. The drug itself makes them so weak. So our dietitians come in, help us prepare them to these children to help with their weight gain.
And these children are also, the dietitian is involved in planning the meal of the diet. The child is able to tolerate most of the foods. Usually we try liquid foods, so it's just like you giving the child a balanced diet, but this time in a liquid form, because those ones are a little bit tolerable compared to the solid foods.
We have the medical aspect of it, and we also have phantom pains. And because the child has been going through this pain for some time, the child will become conditioned. So even when the gravity of the pain has come down, it is likely that the child will those sensation as pain, and that is where the psychologist will come in to give them diversional therapy, children's ward, so that the pain that they are going. These are some of the roles of the psychologist in managing children who go through terminal illness like cancer.
The role of physiotherapists in managing childhood cancer will obviously has to do with if there is any loss of function or disability, or if there is also pain. So we have 2 main areas when it comes to our role. Is first of all, if there is loss of if there is some kind of disability or some kind of loss of function, we help them to regain their function. And also in cases where we can use non-pharmacological methods of helping them to cope with pain. Those areas, the physiotherapy.
The treatment facility is a huge problem for a lot of patients. So right now we have only 2 comprehensive childhood cancer centers in Ghana, which is in Komfanoche in Kumasi and Kolebu in Accra. We also have other shared care centers that are able to offer some level of treatments, like in Tamale, in Cape Coast, in Agogo.
So we commuted from Cape Coast to Kolebu. Every time she needed medical attend, we had to move from Cape Coast to Kolebu for such treatment. And in Kolebu, if you're on admission, then fine. They had to book a hotel and sleep in for the period of days that we will spend in Accra. Yes. Then after we come back to Cape Coast.
Every Monday, if you have a sneak, if you have a sneak, 4:00 a.m. Now you have 8:30. Yeah.
Now you can imagine that someone has to leave Elubu to where it's not accessible.
Then when it comes to the financial aspect of it, it was a big drain on us because she had a single kidney from birth. So the normal route of using the public services, of going to queue for about a week or 2 before you can get an MRI done in Kolebu, we had to use the private places so that in a day or 2 we can get the results and quickly know what was going on with her. It was just the family that we did it on our own. So it was quite...
It's like you are stranded before you're able to purchase that. And instantly, the child needs that drug to be administered. And if you don't get it, looking at it, it's very, very stressful. So a lot has gone in. I don't have receipts here. I have showed you a lot of receipts. It's very, very expensive. Very expensive.
Cape Coast, fortunately, is now developing into a center, and we have some treatmenting also for some of the shared care. It's also another small center. So, but you just imagine patients, children right up north, sometimes because it's not everything that they can manage in Tamale, so they have to come all the way down to Accra, or right from all the way western or eastern Volta region, coming all the way down to Accra. This is a big challenge. So geographical access, and transportation costs, having to come here, finding accommodation is another issue, And then
You can imagine children, you can imagine what we are dealing with.
The cost of treatment. I would say children have not been told about childhood cancer and it's being absorbed under the National Health Insurance Scheme. I know some aspects of who, when cured of cancer, has at least 50 to 60 years potentially of productive life to give back to society. Why should they be able to access treatment and a child with cancer can't? And let's say an adult with breast cancer needs a drug, let's say doxorubicin, which is life-saving in a little one, in a baby or a young child, at a fraction of the cost, the child will be denied.
Country as a whole, if we are losing our future leaders, as we call them, to childhood cancers, then we know that in future the workforce is going to be reducing.
Journey so far in Ghana highlights 2 decades of Ghana's legal and social efforts in fighting the global menace.
It's one of the world's fastest growing criminal industries, affecting an estimated 25 million people globally, with women and children accounting for the majority of victims. According to Respect, traffickers exploit vulnerability using deception and force to Ghana, like many countries, has not been spared. In response to this growing threat, Ghana passed the Human Trafficking Act in 2005, establishing a legal framework to criminalize trafficking, protect victims, and prosecute offenders. The journey so far in Ghana. To mark this milestone, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection holders from the security services and human trafficking in all its forms.
Trafficking in persons has been one of the globally complex human activities due to its multifaceted within and across national persons is dominant within national borders. On the world stage, it is often conceptualized as transnational organized. The second most vicious,
including the creation of a human trafficking secretariat, the rescue and rehabilitation of survivors, and ongoing public education. Yet they stress that trafficking
awareness. We must also raise our ambition. Let this be more than a commemoration. Let it be a recommendment to each one of us to strengthen international cooperation, to hold perpetrators accountable. Let us educate, legislate, and be active when taking decisions for the vulnerable.
This year's activities will include school sensitizations, social media campaigns, and a national symposium on July 30, the date set by the United Nations to spotlight the global fight against human trafficking. The ministry is encouraging all Ghanaians to remain vigilant, support survivors, and report suspected cases because a silence, they say, only emboldens traffickers. Reporting for GBC News, Gifty AJ.
A Human Trafficking Secretariat at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the lead agency in Ghana's fight against human trafficking. As we reflect on 20 years since the passage of the Human Trafficking Act, we ask, what has the journey really been last 20 years? That is from 2005 till date.
So very much good morning to all our listeners. I think in 2005, Ghana took a very bold step to have a legislation against human trafficking. And so the Palermo Protocol was signed by Ghana in 2000. And in 2005, we had our law. And from then, we've had our legislative instrument that actually support us to implement the law, and also our national plan of action, which actually give us the guidelines and also support all stakeholders to. We have the anti-human trafficking unit, also an anti-unit. We also have our desk office at the Attorney General's office. We even have another desk office at Ghana Civil Aviation. And this is to strengthen institutions. Aside the work of the ministry, you know, human trafficking actually is an organized crime. And so every institution have a role to play. So this has necessitated for us to actually build more capacities. We've gone further to have regional offices. We've even gone further to have district offices to ensure that cases doesn't need to come to headquarters of various law enforcement agencies before they are prosecuted. And so as a ministry, our main mandate is to ensure we coordinate. We ensure there are policies. We ensure there are resources. We ensure that at least our fund is very active. And so the government actually established the Human Trafficking Fund to ensure we are able to coordinate some of these activities. What next, if I may say so? We use the 4Ps approach: prevention, protection, partnership, and also prosecution. And so in terms of prevention, as a ministry, we ensure that we raise awareness. Leaders, assemblymen, the community. We all know, of course, Ghanaians love to travel, migration. And so people tend to use all other means to travel. sometimes these traffickers are very smart. They've seen that, of course, greener pastures is one way they can recruit their victims. And so they end up deceiving them, telling them that they're intent of using irregular means to travel without proper documentations. And then they get caught up, they get arrested. Some even want to get to Europe, so they travel through the desert, trying to use transit routes, transit paths like Libya, Tunisia, trying to even go through the Mediterranean Sea and other routes, which they end up in majority of the time. Parents ignorantly do not know the end game of the traffickers, so they give their children out for them to care for them or learn apprenticeship, and they end up exploiting them either for fishing, for mining, even sometimes begging. And so we intend to raise awareness. We intend to increase our preventive efforts to ensure that some of these things are kept. Capacity building, of course, I'm standing here today because my capacity has been built. And so the more we have people's capacity built, the more we can keep, detect, identify, and protect victims, and also be able to prosecute offenders of trafficking. And so as part of the commemoration, we intend to build capacity of law enforcement agencies through the support from our partners. Protection, if somebody is in trafficking, what do? You have to either withdraw, rescue, or support the person. Or even sometimes it helps in terms of prevention. When you identify that somebody can be vulnerable to be trafficked, you have to protect, prevent it from happening. So is that the second P here? So yes, trafficking is 5 years and the maximum is 25 years. So it's a warning to everybody. You will not be spared. Movement in combating human trafficking, if I'll put it that way? I think the first point is our coordination, our legislative instruments, the laws, the legal frameworks, the national plan of actions that we've put in place. And I think I'll go to the third, which is shelters. Shelters seem to be one of the greatest challenge and the gap that we used to have. People reporting. It does not mean that at that time there was no trafficking. It only means that we have, in terms of numbers, we are doing a lot more rescue, we are having a lot more of investigations, and we are able to protect or care for victims more. And so for me, I'll interpret it that yes, but together we have almost 15 shelters. We did specifically for trafficking, we have 3, and then together with our partners, we have 15 in all. So is it only shelters that you provide for those rescued, or you have other kind of support system that you provide for those rescued? Yes, so we have our reintegration package also, depending on the situation of trafficking, what you've been in. There are others, it's because of poverty. So you need to set them up, you need to support again compared to moving. Actually fully employed. They have their salons, they have their carpentry shop, they have the skill that they are doing, but somebody is trying to deceive them. All that they need is the information to let them know that it's not always true that the grass is greener at the other side than here. You need to work, enjoy your profit, and you give them examples of situation and people who are willing to share their life experience to them, and you end up preventing the trafficking. Great. Thank you very much, Madam Abna. Thank you too for having me. It's been insightful having this discussion with you. So that was Madam Abna Nubia Asari, Director of Human Trafficking Secretariat at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Now let's move on to health, and the Princess Marie Louise Children's Hospital is calling on the government and other stakeholders to support it in cash and kind to address its challenges. At the launch of an endowment fund in Accra, management further appealed to the government to build more children's hospitals across the nation as it seeks to continue its mission of delivering exceptional pediatric.
25. The Princess Marie Louise Children's Hospital for Ghana's youngest citizens, providing them critical medical care with compassion and love. The hospital now marks a major milestone, 100 years of existence and service to the Ghanaian community. The endowment fund, which was launched, is to support the renovation of the hospital and the drainage system. It was evident that the health facility is in a state of disrepair. The chairman of the Hospital Advisory Board, Reverend Father Andrew Campbell, acknowledged the work of the staff and appealed to the government for support.
After I came here, there were only 2 doctors, no pediatrician. I remember myself going to the minister's This used to frighten.
Superintendent of the hospital, Dr. Mami Yanyakon, stressed the need
on those hospital grounds that are about 100 years old. We have existence before I was born, and so those are the major challenges. So currently our core things are about making the structure safe, making the structure friendly, and making it in a way that the children who come here would have a better experience.
Remains unwavering.
For the endowment fund, in the name of God the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
June 26 marks National Scoliosis Awareness Day, a day dedicated to shedding light on a condition that affects millions of people worldwide. As part of National Scoliosis Awareness Month, focus is placed on the importance of education, early detection, and support for those living with scoliosis. Joining us today is Nana Kwekweje, Principal College, to help us better understand what scoliosis is, how it impacts individuals, especially children and teens, and what can be done to improve awareness and access to care. Good morning, gentlemen. I have another gentleman, and he is Joel Ajib Watson, a national service person at the same outfit, right? Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. And thank you very much for joining us on News Highlights to shed more light on the disease.
Spine, which affects the internal organs of the spine, are affected with the disease. And scoliosis affects a lot of children and adults worldwide. So it's important that the awareness is created so that people will know what scoliosis is, early detection, and then how to manage it.
So how does it affect mobility of a person? Because if it's just something that affects a lot of people, why should we even dedicate a day in the year to celebrate it or to observe it?
Okay, so
is it that serious?
Yes, it's very serious. There are a lot of causes for scoliosis. One is idiopathic, which the cause is not really known. We have degenerative scoliosis. We have congenital scoliosis. And then, but the most important one is the idiopathic scoliosis, which mainly affects children. So from 0 to 3, called the infantile scoliosis, and then from
so what kind of presentation is this? Is it in the acute or chronic stage? How can you explain these pictures for us?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, it's the side bending of the spine. Now, so the spine contains the internal organs of the body. So when it is bent like that, it's going to affect the internal scoliosis. Now, we have different types. So this has affected the whole spine, which is very serious. It affects children mostly from their puberty age, and then usually affects females due to the growth spine. It's a double curve scoliosis, which has gotten to the serious stage. When it gets to a certain degree, it cannot be corrected by management unless surgery is done. That's
so we see young, is it that you learned from school? Have you come in contact with anybody with the disease, or why do you have interest in?
Scoliosis is in existence, so that we take the necessary action needed to curb the condition.
So what are the actions that we can take to curb this condition?
So we've talked about the medical condition, and also if you are and also a visible curve within the back, what you can do is reach out to health professionals at the National Prosthetic and Orthotic Center and seek immediate treatment.
Okay, so what is treatment like, Nana?
Okay, so early detection is very important. So when it's detected early, management takes place, where we have orthotic braces that will be able to correct the deformity. Now, when it gets to a point that cannot be corrected, then it has to be managed.
And this is what a lot of people wouldn't like to, go.
So it cannot be managed. And then
You mentioned that it will be through surgery.
Surgery,
and
yes.
a lot of people, especially in our parts of the world, do not like to go under the knife. So, what advice do you have for people?
So early detection is very important.
We keep on saying early detection.
Yes,
so if my shoulder, I wake up one day and I realize that my shoulder is tilted.
Yes. For the acute stages, I mean, it's not painful. But when it progresses, it becomes very painful.
So these are the pictures, and we can also talk about it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So these.
So like this girl, she's a girl.
Yes. So depending on the age.
That's it. This is the girl.
Yeah, depending on the age, and we'll be able to tell the type of scoliosis, and then we are able to calculate the curve, the degree of the curve, which will help us in the correction of it. So looking at this, I think it has gotten to a chronic stage which can still be managed because the child is still growing.
So what type of treatment do you have? I keep on asking about the treatment because maybe you say there are diseases where it's be laser treatment. So with scoliosis, what are the kind of treatment or treatments that are given to patients who come in with disease?
We have a variety of treatments, which the chief of them is the orthotic treatment, where we design orthotic brace to be worn by the disc, and then the designed such that they correct.
So now you're a young man, and it's about technology. So what role does technology play in this kind of treating scoliosis?
The scoli brace, but we don't have those devices here in Ghana. So actually, we use the plastic type, which do and more.
A lot of emotional and physical disturbances or traumas that the patients report at your outfit.
Stigma, which is the chief amongst them. So we would advise that if we see somebody with scoliosis, we try to help the person instead of tagging the person with the disease, which I think, when we do that in support, it's going to help the patient. And then also, when we see the signs of scoliosis, we make sure...
It's not in the genes then? So that means if somebody has, the children might not also get it in future.
Yes. So the cause is not known, but scientific theories are suggesting that it might be in the genes as well. Yes.
So how long does it take for a person to be treated?
Between 3 to 6 months, there's going to be some sort of corrections. And then if it is being managed by braces, then the patient would have to put on the braces for between 16 to 23 hours in a day.
So for how long?
For 6 months, 2 years, we can see improvement on the
So that
spine.
means that scoliosis is just corrected?
Yeah.
And Joel, now, what do you tell your senior right now? What do you have to tell them about scoliosis, and what should they also do to wrap up the interview?
Okay. So I want to say that let's help and let's join this awareness campaign and make the public known about the medical condition called scoliosis. And also, we have to know that push the person away, but rather you accept the person and also make sure the person feel welcome. So let's join this campaign and make scoliosis awareness a national priority.
So that means final words from you. I can't river, children. So what are your final words for the public to know that this is a kind of condition when detected early can be corrected?
So everybody can be diagnosed of scoliosis. So it's not a condition that should be tagged on one person. You might not know what is going to happen the next moment. So if you see people
with scoliosis, do not stigmatize them. And on that note, we end news highlights for today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. The death toll, survivors said Monday, as the villagers were still digging through burned homes, counting their dead and looking for dozens of people still missing. Assailants stormed Benue State Yelawata community ablaze, survivors and local farmers union said. Many of those killed were sheltering in a local market after fleeing violence in other parts of the state. No one immediately claimed responsibility for the killings, but such attacks are common in Nigeria's northern region, where local herders and farmers often clash over limited access to land and water. The prolonged conflict has become deadlier in recent years, with authorities and analysts warning that more herdsmen are taking up arms. The farmers accuse the herders, mostly of Fulani origin, of grazing their livestock on their farms and destroying their produce. The herders insist that the lands are grazing routes that were first backed by law in 1965, 5 years after the country gained its independence. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu, whose government has fallen short of expectations in ending the country's deadly security crisis, described the Benue attack as senseless, bloodletting, while his office said he would visit the stricken community on Wednesday. The gunmen also burned food stores in the local market, raising a year's harvest that included rice and yam, staple food mainly exported from Benue to other parts of Nigeria. Survivors said the gunmen made it difficult for many to flee after surrounding the Yelawata community, which is about 120 kilometers from the state capital of Makurdi.
One person has been killed in the Kenyan capital Nairobi on Tuesday during protests sparked by the death of a blogger in police custody that has seen the man's body was on the ground with a bleeding head wound. It was unclear how he had died or who he was. Kenya's police spokesperson Muchiri Nyaga said he was unaware of the casualty. The death of 31-year-old blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang on June 8 came a year after more than 60 people were killed during protests initially sparked by proposed tax increases. Police initially said he had committed suicide, but Kenya's police chief later apologized after an independent autopsy found that Mr. Ojwang's wounds pointed to assault as the cause of death. As demonstrators took to the streets of Nairobi on Tuesday, police fired tear gas. Clashes also broke out when unidentified motorcyclists beat up protesters, dispersing them. Local media showed video of the bikers shouting "No protest." Amnesty International's Kenya chapter, in a post on X, referred to the presence of dozens of motorbikes with two hooded passengers whipping protesters and members of the public. President William Ruto said last week that Mr. Ojwang had died at the hands of the police, which he called heartbreaking and unacceptable. Mr. Ojwang was arrested as part of an investigation triggered by a former complaint by Deputy Police Chief Eliud Lagat, according to the Independent Policing Oversight Authority watchdog. Kenyan TV said demonstrations also erupted in Kenya's second largest city, Mombasa, on Tuesday, and showed protesters shouting slogans and holding placards saying "Stop killing us" and "Ruto must stop killing us." Last week, hundreds of people demonstrated in Nairobi over the blogger's death, with vehicles set ablaze and police firing tear gas. Organizers of a march to the Egyptian border with Gaza said on Tuesday that 3 participants were abducted by plainclothes officers in Cairo amid a wave of arbitrary detentions
deportations and abuse of security forces. Egypt's interior and foreign ministries did not immediately respond to the 4,000 activists from more than 80 countries to Egypt in an attempt to peacefully approach the Rafah border crossing and draw attention to Gaza's deepening humanitarian crisis. Since their arrival, dozens of participants said they have faced airport interrogations. Deep Tuesday, organizers said 3 international participants were forcibly taken from a Cairo cafe on Monday by security officers, both from Norway, and Saif Abu Kishek, a Spanish citizen of Palestinian origin and one of the march's organizers. The statement said that all 3 men were blindfolded, beaten and interrogated. Mr. Abu Kishek says he faced severe abuse. The organizers said his whereabouts remain unknown, while Mr. Selthi also denied that any detainees were treated violently as long as they adhered to procedures and security instructions until their deportation. The sources said that approximately 400 people have been deported, while fewer than 30 remain awaiting deportation and are being held. Egypt's foreign ministry had previously said travel to the Rafah area required prior approval to ensure safety. Organizers say they sought to coordinate through proper channels.
Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni, a previous law permitting such trials, was ruled unconstitutional by the tribunal if they had been found with military equipment like guns or army uniforms. Activists had complained that the law was used to persecute government critics. Parliamentarians passed the amendment last month amid a heavy police presence. In January, the judges said that the military court was neither impartial nor competent to exercise judicial functions, the International Society for Human Rights reported at the time. The amendment appears to try and address some of the issues. It says that those presiding over the tribunal should have relevant legal qualifications and training. It also says that while performing their legal functions, they should be independent and impartial. But civilians can still be transferred if found with military hardware. Opposition leader Bobby Wine, country's lawyers, has said it will challenge the constitutionality of the amendment. For years, activists has argued evidence had been planted. He added that the people can spend years and those who are tried and found guilty face harsher penalties.
Sudan's war is in strategic stalemate. Each side takes its hopes on a new offensive and new delivery of weapons. More who are hungry, displaced and despairing. The Sudan Armed Forces triumphantly announced the recapture of central Khartoum in March. It broadcast picture of its leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, walking through the ruins of the capital's Republican Palace, which had been controlled by the paramilitaries of the Rapid Support Forces since its earliest days of the war in April 2023. The arm deployed weapons newly acquired from Egypt, Turkey, and Middle Eastern countries including Qatar and Iran. But its offensive quickly stalled. The RSF, headed by General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hameti, responded with a devastating drone attack on Port Sudan, which is both the interim capital of the military government and also the main entry point for humanitarian aid. These were long-range sophisticated drones, which the army accuses the United Arab Emirates of supplying, a charge the UAE rejects, along with well-documented reports that it has been backing the RSF during the 27-month conflict. The RSF has also expanded operations to the south of Khartoum. Month after month of blockade, bombardment, and ground attacks have created famine among the residents, with the people of the displaced camp of Zamzam West hate. The RSF and its allied Arab militias have a terrifying record of massacre, rape, and ethnic cleansing. Human rights organizations have accused it of genocide against the Masalit people of West Darfur. Zagawa communities in El Fasher fear that if the joint forces are defeated, they will suffer savage reprisals at the extraordinary feat of overthrowing the country's longtime leader Omar al-Bashir through non-violent protest are in disarray. Over the coming months, with 5 states facing the immediate risk of starvation. The report, Hunger Hotspots, released on WFP, blamed conflicts, economic shocks, and climate-related hazards, which predicts food crisis in the next 5 months, calls for investment and help to ensure aid delivery, which it said was being undermined by insecurity and funding gaps. The people living in the 5 worst hit countries face extreme hunger and risk of starvation and death in the coming months unless there is urgent humanitarian action, warned the UN agencies. FAO Director General Ku Dugu said, "This report makes it very clear that hunger today is not a distant threat." He said, "It is a daily emergency for immediate livelihoods. For famine to be declared, at least 20% of the population in an area must be suffering extreme food shortages, with 30% of children acutely malnourished and 2 people out of every 10,000 dying daily from starvation or malnutrition and disease." In Sudan, where famine was confirmed in 2024, South Sudan, hit by flooding and political instability, could see up to 7.7 million people in crisis, with 63,000 in famine-like conditions. It said, in Palestine, Israel's Christian people
we arrived at school. Since there are no teachers, we have KG 1 and 2, class 1 and 2 in this same class.
So many occasions when the rain starts like that, you can cross.
Sometimes we get here maybe in the middle of nowhere and you see them driving in a very reckless manner and you can't ask them to stop. Where will you drop?
What's the experience on the island? I mean,
Okay.
so like, where were you from before you came here?
Okay, I came from the Ashanti region, Kumasi to Before. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But for now, it seems we are managing. It's okay now. It hasn't been easy, but with God, I think we are managing.
So for the first 1 month you came here, what were you expecting? Did you wanted to go back to Kumasi, or you just wanted to adapt to the situation?
Oh no, in fact, it was something hurting. So I had wanted to leave, but since I have KG 1 and 2, class 1 and 2 in my class.
So you are from the mainland, and that's
Yes.
one
Adan.
Adan.
Yeah.
Which of the Adan? Is it the Adan?
Big Adan.
Big Adan.
Techunya, yeah.
So you crossed this every
River,
day. So
yes.
how many minutes? Unfortunately, I didn't even check my time when we left from Panye. But roughly what time? How many minutes does it take you?
It depends. Sometimes people join us, so they have to be enlightened.
An interesting one right here, but I would follow you to your classroom and see how you do your thing. The time you get to school, how you do your things in the classroom.
Okay.
Say you class 1,
2, KG 1 and 2.
So 4
classes. Yeah.
It's a Friday morning and I'm currently at the Tuane Copper Basic School. And when I got here, the place looked a bit, quiet, but I can see some students around. Class is not in session as at 9:28 my time or my clock is saying. And we came with the teachers from the mainland, that's from Ada, Pongpo Panya community. We actually came with them from the mainland to the island here. And my interaction with some of the teachers, they said sometimes when it rains, they have to take their time because the water becomes, it gets higher, so they have to wait a little while for the water to come down before they can cross. But I'll interact with some of the teachers, to give us more, highlights on this situation.
One and 2 in this same class.
So 4 classes in one. So how do you manage them?
It's not easy. You have to be running through the curriculum. You have to go for KG1, quickly KG2, then like that. That is how we are doing it. And it's not been easy, but we are trying.
But it's 9:30 and if we go by the curriculum, classes start at 7:30. If my memory serves me right. Why as of now, classes hasn't started?
It's because of our boats. Normally we have to go in for the commercial ones before we come to school, bringing us here. It makes us late. Normally on the market days, the students, they don't come to school because of the market days. Because most of them go to the markets where they don't come to school in their number.
Yeah. So what are some, apart from coming to school late, you have to wait for the commercial boat to ferry you on the water to school?
Okay, for issues, we have so many issues because when it comes to the school, you look at our roof, you can see we have holes in the roofs. And so normally when it rains like this, we lack teachers and boats, but now we have our own boats, so I think that is that.
Crossing the river and it's not easy because sometimes you'll be on the river to be here safely, you cross and nothing will happen to us. Our main motivation is the students. We want to help them to become better person in future. Yes, they are our main motivation because if we said we will not come, who will be willing to come? So we just have to sacrifice and help them to become whom they want to become.
So has there been a situation where you're not able to come because of rain?
Oh yes, so many occasions when the rain starts like that, you can't cross because you will not know how, because the estuary is just here. So when you are coming during the rainy season and the wave start to, it can worry. So when it's rainy, we advise ourselves not to come. And when we are on the island like this and it's rain too, we don't cross. So it's just last week we were here up to 6 getting to 7 because before we are able to cross because the rain, it was raining and we can't cross during the rain. Yes.
Water, sunlight, nutrients from the soil and
For how long have you been doing this?
From the onset, I felt okay. It was kind of an adventure for me. I liked the idea of crossing the river, but when I started, actually the experience it's been okay, but not that good. You know, crossing it once in a while is okay, but when it becomes something you do daily, it becomes a risk. Yes.
Has there been a situation where you get up in the morning and you be like, oh God, am I going to do this again?
Oh yes, especially when it's cloudy or when it rains. We don't want to cross because sometimes the rain comes with wind and thinking, especially even when you are in school. When you're at home, you might end up staying at home. But when you're on the island and it rains or it's windy, we don't have teachers' bungalow. So you definitely have to cross. And there is no light, so you can't even do
a trained teacher.
Yeah, I'm a trained teacher.
So how did you feel when you heard or you had the news that you've been posted to the island?
As I said earlier, to me, from the beginning, I felt it was going to be cool. Some sort of, and so there'll be a lot of benefits, opportunities. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm in it. Because most teachers, when being posted, they'll do reposting because of some other reasons they don't come. But for me, I was like, okay, why not? Let me just try this island thing and see how it will go. But first year I was okay. Second year I'm like, So as we speak, if certain things are not put in place for teachers to have the comfortability, I'm sure I'll have to leave this place.
So going for what would you recommend that government should do for you?
I feel teachers' bungalow one. Yes, because if we have a teachers' bungalow, even if I'll cross, it will be once in a while, not every day. But since we don't have some, I'll cross, it's maybe when I want to buy something, which wouldn't be every day. Yes, but since we don't have it, we are being forced to actually cross. Some of the teachers used to stay on the island. They were given part of the nurses' bungalows, I think 3 rooms, and we are more than 3 teachers, so all of us can't stay in that room. So some of us were forced to rent in town. One thing about these commercial boats also is sometimes it overloads. I've got videos. It overloads. Sometimes the way they drive it, you see, I don't know who is responsible for checking, because I know with driving you need to get a driver's license, but with the boats, if you get to the riverside, whoever that has a boat, you will have to join, and you don't know whether they are experienced or not. So sometimes we get here maybe in the middle of nowhere and you see them driving in a very reckless manner and you can't ask them to stop. Where will you drop? If it was road, I'll say, hey, driver Messi, but this, no. It's also another challenge. So aside the teachers' bungalows, if we have a personal boat, like for teachers' boats, that we know that, okay, this driver driving it is an experienced driver, at least we will feel a bit safer than we join. Health-wise, it's not good for us because we get really scared.
Some individuals and business operators continue to find their way out to smuggle in
Accra, which is one of the major rivers within this area.
We'll be in the Savannah region, we'll go to the northeast region,
And we will be telling you a lot more about the people's expectation ahead of election 2024.
Get to know more about Puno and Ahafo regions.
Residents of Kambali and Dobile can now heave a sigh of relief following the construction of this culvert, even during the raining season. Reporting for Real Time, Salah Abdul Wahab. Wow.
It is also anticipated that within the next 10 years,
these children are looking up to God, they are looking up to central government, they are looking up to you and I to have a convenient learning environment for them to be able to rise up to be responsible citizens in this country.
Real Time, your eyes to the regions. Showing on your screens from Monday to Thursday at 11 a.m. and on Fridays at 1 p.m. Milestone.
Welcome to the highly anticipated second edition of Spectacle. This is the pressure we're talking about.
The scope of the producer's work.
From there, we just jumped on the train.
Chapter 2, Chapter 3 to 6. Your ultimate destination to an unparalleled interviews featuring top-notch pundits. We will dive and highlighting the funniest quotes of the day. We will explore the intriguing, ugly moments in entertainment. Join me, through the entertainment landscape.
This man is an angel in Africa.
As we always say, Spectacle, it's all about the entertainment.
It's the conversation that matters, the ultimate discussion. Our panel of journalists tackle all topics from politics to social justice, economy to entertainment. No topic is off limits. No question is too tough. Our panel will dissect the issues that shape our world. We'll serve you with unfiltered insights, unapologetic opinions, and uncompromising truth-telling. Don't miss the Reporters Roundtable every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. on GBC News. The news Tuesdays 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and I repeat on Thursdays 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Hello, good morning. You're watching GBC News and this is Real Time, your eyes and ears to the regions. We're streaming live on all our social media handles at GTV and GBC Ghana. And we're bringing you stories from right across the 16 regions and from where you are exactly. For our first story, we're crossing over to the Upper East region, Bolgatanga to be precise. Road users from Bolgatanga and Zwaringo in the two towns is looking messy, very dusty in the dry season and muddy after the rains. Road users therefore complain about the bad nature of the road and assert it is a threat to their health. We're crossing over to our regional correspondent, Peter Agengre, who is standing by to bring us some more on this story. Peter, good morning. Welcome to Real Time.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Wonderful. What more can you tell us, Peter, on this road?
That's man by
Bear with me a minute, Peter, and could you please kindly reposition yourself so we could have a clearer communication line to reach you. Thank you very much. We're trying to get Peter's line a bit clearer, and then we can bring you that story from Bolga Tanga, two towns, Bolga Tanga as Warungu, complaining about the bad state of their roads and asserting they're fed up with government's delayed promises. If anything could be done about it, at least it will then reassure them that their health can be assured. This is what the crust of the story is. Peter, if you can hear me, we're trying to get you coming back to us. Let me take a break here and reconnect.
Find their way out to smuggle in some products into the country.
This is Agona Yakum, and behind me is a bridge, of course, on the river Accra, which is one of the major rivers within this area.
We'll be in the Savannah region, we'll go to the northeast region, and we will be telling you a lot more about the people's expectation ahead of election 2024.
Get to know more about Puno and Ahafo regions.
Residents of Kambali and Dobile can now heave a sigh of relief following the construction.
Anticipated that within the next 10 years, Okwasi and its enclave will become self-sustaining, self-reliant economically, socially, with or without gold mining activities.
These children are looking up to God, they are looking up to central government, they are looking up to you and I to have a convenient learning environment for them to be able to rise up to be responsible citizens in this country.
Real Time, your eyes to the regions. Showing on your screens from Monday to Thursday at 11 a.m. and on Fridays at 1 p.m.
DBC, 90 years of impact. Join us in various activities and events to celebrate this milestone.
Edition of Spectacle.
This is the pressure we are talking about.
The scope of the producer's work.
From there, we just jumped on the train.
Chapter 2, Chapter 3, the hottest vibes, the juiciest gossip, and unfiltered interviews featuring top-notch pundits. We will dive into the latest buzz from Pania's quote of the day. We will explore the intriguing, ugly moments in entertainment. Join me, your fabulous big sister Higa, as we uncover this and many more other captivating stories in the thrilling journey through the entertainment landscape.
This man is an angel in Africa.
As we always say, spectacle, it's all about the entertainment.
Some individuals and business operators continue to find their way out to smuggle in some products into the country.
This is Agona Yakum, and behind me is a bridge, of course, on the river Accra.
We'll go to the northeast region, and we will be telling you a lot more.
Ahafo regions.
Residents of Kambali and Dobile can now heave a sigh of relief following the construction of these culverts, even during the raining season. Reporting for Real Time, Salah Abdul Wahab. Wow.
It is also anticipated that within the next 10 years, Okwasi and its enclave will become self-sustaining, self-reliant, economically, socially.
Looking up to central government, they are looking up to you and I to have a convenient learning environment for them to
time. Your eyes to the regions. Showing on your screens from Monday to Thursday at 11 a.m. and on Fridays at 1 p.m.
The Upper East region. But before that, let's come home to the Greater Accra region, where we're crossing over to our Greater Accra regional correspondent, Michael Dowanu, who's following up on a story to do with maritime training. The Regional Maritime University, in partnership with the Bernhard Schultz Ship Management, is opening a state-of-the-art maritime training center in Ghana. This new facility aims to equip maritime professionals from Ghana and across Africa with advanced skills in navigation, maritime knowledge, and industry demands. Let's cross over now to Michael.
And good morning to us as well. This morning, what is happening here at the Regional Maritime University is that BSN and together with the Regional Maritime Authority have been put up this state-of-the-art facility that is a training center, train students. And you know what BSM does is that it's a separate company, and mostly recruit students from this campus. At any time, the schools or the companies or the might not collaborate and bring them training. And so today, I'm very sick of that. So want to be inside there. But before that, we'll be something we've been leading the whole agenda for this particular training. Let's talk about this later and what this lecture will be offering the students here. Thank you so much, Captain. Please mention your name. You are live on TV.
Okay, thank you very much, Captain. Electoral most
then I choose.
Oh, I'm on the German. So this collaboration has very identified the so the different from this concept everything. So because it's why in the land, so we started using the COVID one of the unique gaps that in the city about reality is safe and they identify by the union.
Opening already the session and about the way that and operations are coming.
And also representing the US in the two articles. Sorry, the cadet said Martin away and the noise for we are also joined by acting vice chancellor, who will also be telling us about this particular collaboration between between and then Rita Maritime University. So here is the lecture, but it's also with DSM managed to bring this huge project here, and now we are going to enjoy and benefit from a state of the art training for your students. Earlier on, when the students and
opening Marie Elizabeth by our committee. Can we do it one more time? It was going to be what do you want to put? It is on that note of prescription that I will get from Ghana. I was representing from the kingdom of Cameroon, Ghana, Liberia, Peru, friends from different parts of the world, for example. From the media, single survivors together, making them together. The more important part of the chamber or ability it's important. Currently have maritime training center here.
We're having a terrible feedback from your background, and so we'll be glad if you would reposition yourself, and so we'd later rejoin you. Let's take a break on here. When we come back, we'll try and reconnect with Michael or come to your region.
Some individuals and business operators continue to find their way out to smuggle in some products into the country.
This is Agona Yakrum, and behind me is a bridge, of course, on the river Accra, which is one of the major rivers within this area.
We'll be in the Savannah region, we'll go to the northeast region, and we will be telling you a lot more about the people's expectation ahead of election 2024.
Get to know more about Bono and Ahafo regions.
Residents of Kambali and Dobile can now heave a sigh of relief following the construction of this culvert, even during the raining season. Reporting for Real Time, Salah Abdul Wahab. Wow.
It is also anticipated that within the next 10 years, Okwasi and its enclave will become self-sustaining, self-reliant economically, socially, with or without gold mining activities.
These children are looking up to God, they are looking up to central government, they are looking up to you and I to have a convenient learning environment for them to be able to rise up to be responsible citizens in this country.
Real Time, your eyes to the regions. Showing on your screens from Monday to Thursday at 11 a.m. and on Fridays at 1 p.m.
GBC, 90 years of impact. Join us in various activities and events to celebrate this milestone.
Welcome to the highly anticipated anticipated second edition of Spectacle.
This is the pressure we're talking about.
The scope of the producer's work.
From there, we just jumped on the train.
Chapter 2, Chapter 3 to 6. Your ultimate destination to an unparalleled entertainment experience. Get ready for the hottest vibes, the juiciest gossip, and unfiltered interviews featuring top-notch pundits. We will dive into the latest buzz from Parliament.
The micro minority.
Showcasing the best-dressed MPs and highlighting the funniest quotes of the day. We'll explore the intriguing, ugly moments in entertainment. Join me, your fabulous big sister Higa, as we uncover this and many more other captivating stories in the thrilling journey through the entertainment landscape.
This man is an angel in Africa.
As we always say, Spectacle, it's all about the entertainment.
It's the conversation that matters, the ultimate discussion. Our panel of journalists tackle all topics from politics to social justice, economy to entertainment. No topic is off limits. No question is too tough. Our panel will dissect the issues that shape our world. We'll serve you with unfiltered insights, unapologetic opinions, and uncompromising truth-telling. Don't miss the Reporters Roundtable every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. on GBC News.
Thank you very much for staying with us. We're now going to cross over to the Upper West, where our correspondent is joining us on an agriculture innovation story, and small and medium-scale enterprises play a critical role in Ghana's economy. Yet they are confronted with challenges which can be addressed through innovations. Researchers have carried out research on the impact of agri-innovation hubs on SMEs' performance in Ghana. Joining us now is our Upper Western Regional Correspondent, Swala Abdul Wahab, with more on this story. Swala, thank you very much for joining us.
Agriculture is one of the mainstays of majority of the people in the Upper West region. So when you talk of agriculture, you are talking about livelihoods of hundreds or thousands of people, majority of whom are women. So in the Upper West region, we have quite a number of small and medium-scale enterprises, but these enterprises are confronted with many challenges. It is for this reason that the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, in collaboration with University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, as well as Dr. Hilary Liman Technical University, and they took a research to find out the impact of agri-innovation on SMEs. We are here at UBIS where the research is being presented. The research has come out with is actually what is pertaining on the ground. So we are going to engage one of the members of the research team. He is Professor Stanley Ojodari, to tell us in the first place what is the motivation or rationale behind this research, and what are some of the key findings of the research, and how does the government or
its partners intend to implement these research findings. Yes, so tell us, what is the purpose of this research that UBIS and Dr. Hillel Limann Technical University has conducted in collaboration with the MEST?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Professor Stanley Kojodare. I'm the Director for the Directorate of Community Outreach and Business Incubation of SDD UBIS, and I'm also part of the MEST project team that undertook the research. So the whole idea was to look at how incubation and innovation hubs operating within the agribusiness space is helping to develop young agripreneurs, and how that can lead to transformation in the Ghana agro-food sector. So the motivation is principally you have these innovation hubs that are operating in the space, and their main purpose is to help young entrepreneurial ventures, especially those operating within the agribusiness space, to grow, to start up businesses and then to grow. Now, one of the justifications for these hubs is to help firms or to increase the survival rate of businesses within the agricultural space. If you look at it, the literature has shown clearly that most entrepreneurial ventures do not really survive. In other words, at the moment, somewhere around 60 to 90%. But the key message here is that most young businesses lack the resources, lack the support system in order to survive in the market space. So these innovation hubs or incubation hubs, their main purpose, they have several objectives, but all of them, if you put them together, the key thing is to increase the survival rates of young businesses or business ventures within the agricultural space. Now, in Ghana here, you have a number of them that are operating across the country, and we wanted to have an understanding of how they are impacting on these ventures within the agricultural space, and then also the challenges that they are facing as incubation hubs or innovation hubs. So that was really the motivation, so that we can be able to know, are they making the necessary impact that they are set out to make? And if they are not, what challenges are they facing that is constraining them in terms of making that necessary impact? So, and these businesses that are located in these incubation or innovation hubs, are they really getting the services that they need, the support system, and how is that translating in terms of in developing their capacities and then translating into their performance?
So, Prof, you said we have almost 80% of many of these agri-entrepreneurs that are not surviving.
Yes.
What is the cause of this?
Yes, so if you look at it, most of the new ventures, they lack key resources. They lack skills in order to survive in the market. There are a lot of challenges. Now, if you want to bring in economics and you want to make some arguments, now some economists will bring in the issue of market failure arguments, that these new ventures face a lot of what we call market failures. And there's also what we also call liability of newness when they go into the business space. Now, and because of that, they lack, managerial skills, they lack the competencies, they lack even key resources. Okay, they lack networking opportunities, funding, and so on and so forth. Now, these incubation hubs are supposed to fill that gap, help these firms to overcome the market failures and the liability of newness in order to survive. Remember, these new businesses coming into the market, there are already incumbent firms that are operating within that space, incumbent firms, which are mostly large, well-established firms. But we know that they cannot solve all the problems that we have. So we need a lot more businesses to venture in the agricultural space. And if you look at the agricultural value chain, it's very, very large. Most of the time when we talk of agriculture, people are thinking more of primary production. But if you look at the agricultural value chain, it's just beyond just primary production. There are a lot of things. We have issues of marketing, issues of financing, issues of transportation, issues of manufacturing, processing, the input market. So it's a very long chain. And there are so many opportunities there for the youth, especially as we are faced with burgeoning youth unemployment. So we know that if we can create opportunities there, and if they can get our youth there, it can help in stemming the unemployment challenges that we are having. But these young agripreneurs, those that are pursuing entrepreneurship within the agricultural space, we call them agripreneurs. They really need that support in order to start up their businesses and also to grow their businesses, and in order to support, to push them with the resources, the guidance, the coaching, the mentoring for them to develop viable businesses.
Prof, you have mentioned a lot of factors that affect the agripreneurs' businesses from lack of in the remote areas. What ideas do they have about some of the things that you have talked about?
Yeah, so they also face similar challenges. Now, what the whole idea here is, how can we get the youth to look at the opportunities that are within the agribusiness space, and also to change the narrative so that agriculture is not just an occupation. Now, if you go to the rural areas, for most people, it's a way of life. They don't really see it as a business. Okay, but we are just saying that there are a lot of business opportunities within the agricultural space. And for them to succeed, then they have to approach agriculture as a business. Okay, so there must be some setup in order to be able to approach it that way as a business. So that is why for young people that are there, it's not just about going to take a hole in the cutlass, but we are saying that there are a lot of things that you can do within the agriculture, even ICT, deployment of ICT. We have over the years we have mentored some young agribusinesses, and for some of them their model was ICT, okay, just deploying ICT in agriculture. For instance, just creating a space that people can market. Now, if you look at the Cosmos Innovation Center, one of their success stories, which really I have also been part of, and these teams emerged from your best. One of them, they realized that fertilizer application was a very big challenge. Now, the large applicators, most peasant or smallholder farmers do not really have access to them. Now, they came up with an innovative solution to make a portable handheld fertilizer applicator. And it is in the market now, and people are using it, and they are solving a problem within the agricultural space. But while solving that problem, they are also creating a business for themselves. Now, for the young people, these are some of the things that we are looking at, to come up with some innovation, okay, that can provide solutions to the problems that these smallholder farmers are facing. But in the process also, they are creating businesses for themselves and others as well.
So the agripreneur.
So yes, so our research, based on what we have done, our research has shown clearly that those agripreneurial ventures that have used the resources of these agribusiness or innovation hubs have seen significant improvement in terms of their innovative capacity, in terms of their performance, in terms of their managerial abilities or skills. There's really a greater impact there. But notwithstanding, we are also realizing that these innovation hubs also have certain challenges. Okay, they have certain challenges, and then which must also be dealt with in order for them to make even greater impact. So that is really what this research is telling us, that the market failures that these innovation or incubation hubs are supposed to help these new ventures within the agripreneurial space to overcome. We realize that these innovation or incubation hubs are also facing some challenges which we can also attribute to the market failures, which means that may diminish the kind of impact that they can make, which also suggests that because our results have shown that yes, they are making positive impact, what it means is that there must be some commitment on the part of government to also strengthen these incubation and innovation hubs. In other words, I'm making that argument for public policy support to make sure that the challenges that they are confronting in relation to human resource, in relation to financing, in relation to infrastructural space and so on and so forth, they also need support so that they can be more functional in order to provide the needed support to these young entrepreneurs.
Okay, so Alan, you've been listening to Professor Stanley Kojo-Dare from the University Samuel Dombo here regarding the innovation hub on the importance of SMEs in Ghana. Prof, we want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
I engage Professor Abdullahi Adams. He is a lead investigator regarding this particular research that we are talking about. Prof, thanks for joining us live on GBC News. We are going to engage Professor Abdullah Adams, who has just finished his presentations on this particular topic that we are discussing. Thanks for your time, Prof.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so give us a gist of the presentation that you have just finished doing.
Yeah, we conducted a research looking at the impact of agri-innovation hubs on target beneficiaries. We noticed that a lot of hubs currently operate in Ghana, but only few of them are focusing on the agri-business value chain. And for that matter, we wanted to understand how many of these hubs are operating in the agricultural value chain space, and what kind of impact are they making on the lives of target beneficiaries. You know, the population of the country have shown that unemployment is a growing concern, and a lot of youths complete school today and they do not have jobs. So these innovation hubs have emerged as one key strategy to address unemployment situation in the country. You also notice that a lot of research and universities in the country now are setting up business incubation centers. Why? Because it has come to light that most of the training that we give to students are not market oriented. So they try to use the business incubation centers. Now we have conducted this research across the country, not just in the Upper West region. We have covered 5 main regions: the Greater Accra region, the Ashanti region, the Brown and Ahafo region.
Conducted this research. What impact is it expected to make on businesses, particularly agribusiness?
Yes. If you do not understand the structure of the agri-innovation hubs, it will be very difficult for you to suggest any meaningful intervention. Now, our work have shown clearly that female representation in agri-innovation hubs is still very low. Only about 35% of women are currently benefiting from the interventions of agri-innovation hubs. So this is very, very important as a nation that tries to bridge the gender gap. So we need to look at more inclusivity in our programming by bringing in more women. Also, it has shown that the age structure is important, because we notice that quite a number of the youth who are currently engaged in the agri-entrepreneurship space were between the ages of 20. Anything that government can do to strengthen the National Youth Authority, we need to do that, so that they can have targeted policies that will target the right population for this intervention. Our studies show that people who are above 40 policy formulation. We also discovered that a greater number of the agri-entrepreneurs were having solutions around mobile phone-based ICT solutions. And what that means is that as policymakers, we need to take that as an entry point in our job creation activities, that there are a lot of young people who have hands on deck for mobile-based technology development applications that can help catalyze the development of the agri-food sector. So it's important that we take this forward. But all in all, there is need for government to support agri-innovation hubs.
What kind of support are you talking of?
The government needs to provide funding, dedicated funding support, because most of the agri-innovation hubs, because of dwindling donor funds, they are unable to continue to operate free services to target beneficiaries. So most of them are now operating cost-sharing models, where they will want to recruit the people, the agripreneurs, give them training, then the agripreneurs will go and look for their own startups or training of the agripreneurs. So the agripreneurs must finance their own training costs, whilst the hubs provide the equipment and the startup capital. So here, government needs to put some dedicated funds where these innovation hubs can develop proposals, float them, so that those that are winnable can be given funding to scale up their activities.
So, Alan, you've been listening to Professor Abdullahi Adams. He's a lead investigator in this research which is being presented today. And what he is saying is that government needs to get a dedicated funding for the to support agri-innovation hubs. And he also indicated that about 35% of women are engaged in the agri-innovation hubs. And for him, he thinks that this figure should go up because we have majority of women as a population of Ghana. And when this happens, it is going to go a long way to address the challenges confronting agri-entrepreneurs in the country. We are hoping that when these research findings are implemented effectively, it will lead to a very impactful outcome on agribusinesses in Ghana. Back to you in Accra, Alan.
There was Upper Western Regional Correspondent Swala Abdul Wahab bringing us something on agri-innovation and SMEs. We're taking a break here. When we come back, it'll be your region next. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. I mentioned earlier how we're coming back to your region, and this time round, let's go back to our earlier story with Peter Agengre, who is currently standing by to bring us some more on the state of roads and complaints between Bolga and Zwarungu, where residents are saying they're fed up with promises that never get fulfilled. Peter, if you can hear us, welcome back. Thank you very much for your patience.
Right. Thank you very much for having me, Alan.
First of all, Peter, what will you say has been the most significant complaint between Zwarungu and Bolgatanga residents?
All right. Thank you very much. This particular road, or part of the road, is that connects Zwarungu and Bolgatanga. And today, you see how busy the road is because it's a market day. And so people from Zwarungu, from Nabdam, from Binduri, they all cross to the municipality, to transact business. People also move from the municipality to the other side of the road, that is in Zwarungu, that's the Bolgatanga East District. To also attempted that many people are describing as a place that is like a death trap, because it has just rained. Last night we had some rains, and so this morning you can see that it is looking very, very muddy. In the rainy season, it is muddy. In the dry season, there is also dust. And so there's no period in the year that will ever be free from this road issues. This particular road project started somewhere in 2016 before President Mahama exited office. Now, between 2016 and 2024, the President Nana Akufo-Addo of the NPP tried to finish it up, but this particular part of it has not been finished.
Right.
And the situation is really, really dire.
Right.
People are complaining so much about it because women or pregnant women who use this road sometimes with disturbing in this part of the road.
Thank you very much for that detailed description, Peter. But would you confirm that this road is actually a part of the main Bolgatanga-Boku-Polmakom road?
Exactly. This is part of the project that was awarded to the contractor Kiro Galval. They are working on the roads linking up to Pulmakum in the Pusiga district.
Right.
When the president cut the short, he was the one who was handed over this project. And
Right.
since then, they have been working on it. Even we have some part of it at Nangodi and some part of it at Binduri
Right.
that they are supposed to fix.
Right.
But those particular areas are not deteriorating as compared to this place because that area, they are outskirts. And so people do not use the road that much over there.
Right.
But here, this bridge, people cross it over and over every day.
Right.
And this is the roads that are equally used to work and to back home. And so you can see that a lot of people use this part of it. And so that is why the residents are calling for government to, or the contractor to quickly return and finish it up. Other than that, people are really going to lose lives. People lose their property. Sometimes when a vehicle gets here and breaks down, it causes a lot of traffic. People get here with their load, and when it falls, it's going to take them 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour before they can be able to leave the site.
Right.
And that's really something that the residents are worried about.
Peter, to follow up, when was the last time you saw an activity on the part of the contractor on this very road?
I can say that it's more than a year that I saw any contractor here. I remember that the current Roads and Highways Minister, when he was coming, just to tour the place and look at, inspect the work or the progress of work so far, we saw the contractor, Kuru Galval, mount some of his equipment around. But after the visit of the minister, those equipments have disappeared. We cannot see them here. And so no work has taken place. No work has been done on the road for the past, I can say, since 2023. And that is a worry to the people of the Upper East Region and those who are using this road. If you can hear me from the background,
yes,
that is an ambulance. An ambulance is carrying a patient. And you can imagine what this patient is going through in this ambulance. It is going to the regional hospital. And I can see Nabdam written on top of it. That is to say that it's coming from the Nabdam district, far away from the municipality. Now it has gotten here. Look at how the vehicle is bumping and trying to navigate its way through and send this patient to the regional hospital. And that is what the people are experiencing here in the Upper East region as far as this road network is concerned. It is a sad situation, and I believe that if government, they are listening to us, they should do something, even if they are not able to work on it quickly, but to bring their drip machines and clear this part of the road, get some gravel and spray on it. For the meantime, other than that, it's going to get worse because the rains have just started. And last night we had rain. The clouds are not even clear yet. There are signs of rainfall in the next few days. And the more it rains, the more deteriorating the road will become. And so I am believing that if government wants the welfare of its people, then that is what they can do. Bring the drip machines to return soon.
Thank you. Peter, what we don't know is whether this project is a GOG or a World Bank assisted project. What we want to find out, though, is at the last visit of the roads minister, what was his word to residents between Bolgatanga and Binduri? And by extension, as you just mentioned, it goes all the way to Polmakom. What was his assurances to residents, and how soon were you told a contractor was going to come back on the road?
Right. So this is part of the they call it the Sino Hydro project that was signed by government years back. And they are saying when the minister visited here a few months ago, he assured us that they were going back to meet the contractor, and then they'll get back to work very soon. Let me, if I'm getting the words of the former minister, Mr. Senso Boache, very clear. He told us that they were going to return to work very soon. That was somewhere in 2023. But that has not been possible until he exited office as the minister.
Right.
And now a different minister has come, and he visited and indicated that they are going back to sit with the contractor and make sure that they can get maybe the resources that are needed quickly to come back to site. But they assured us that they will come back to continue the road project. And that is not only this project. There are many other projects that are part of the Sanu Hydro project that they would be working on. And so that is what he told us. And
finally, Peter, just before I let you go, I know the Roads and Highways Authority has regional or district offices within the various 16 regions. What do we know, what have we heard from the Regional Directorate of the Ghana Highway Authority? And if they are speaking, are they assuring residents of the engagement with Accra to find out whether or not work is going to start anytime soon, as I mean it's been nearly a year since soon was used?
Okay, so the regional minister with the regional director of the Roads and Highways have also, sorry, they were part of the team that visited the road. In fact, regional minister himself, Donald Sakamukri, was on the road before the minister came. And so he says that the Ouagatanga Boku Road project is something that is so dear to him. And for that matter, the development of the region would progress if the road is put in good shape. And so they are equally concerned about it and are making sure that they try and get the contractor back on site. In fact, he mentioned that the conflict in Boku should not be something that would stop the project from going on. And so he is doing so much, and with the director to ensure that the road is fixed as soon as possible.
Okay, Peter Agengre, Upper Eastern Regional Correspondent, we're so grateful for you coming through with that report on the road between Bolgatanga and Zuarungu. Grateful you came through with that for us, Peter. Thank you very much. Let's leave you for now. Until that just gone is Upper East Regional Correspondent Peter Agengre, who came through with the situation of the road between Zuarungu and Bolgatanga. This will be where we'll draw the curtain on today's Real Time. Till we come your way again, keep watching GBC News. My name is Darrell Allen Tego. Thank you very much.
More and more global brands are debuting their flagship or other stores in Shanghai, attracted by the city's high bar for retail space. Sportswear brand Hoka just opened its first global brand experience center in Shanghai that combines retail, physical testing, and activities for urban runners and outdoor enthusiasts. The head of the company's marketing team said they knew they could hit the ground running in Shanghai because of its vibrant consumer market.
Doing it here in Shanghai feels right because it's a very sophisticated, fast-moving marketplace. Retailer executions here are very, very strong. The consumer expects great. So actually, this was a perfect moment and location to actually open the biggest and best expression of our brand.
Meanwhile, the city's making it easy for brands with streamlined policies to speed up customs clearance processes for first store products that are launched in China. And the efforts have been paying off.
It is our first entry into the Chinese market, and we opened pop-up stores, which are preferred by customers, and launched many of our new products here. The updated policy is possible time.
Data from the Shanghai Municipal Commission of Commerce shows that a total of 301 first-in-China stores debuted in Shanghai in Q1 this year. Sibo, the Chinese city that took the internet by storm with its sizzling barbecue, is now serving up more than just skewers. At a business complex that opened in April, tourists shop for iconic cultural products like ceramics and colored glazed knickknacks. A few years ago, when photos of the meat snacks went viral on social media, the city's tourist population began soaring. Since then, the industrial city's been looking for ways to expand its appeal beyond the barbecue boom.
Previously, I came here just for the barbecue, but now it's not just that. There are many performances, and I can see more of Zibo's unique products.
Zibo's barbecues used to be very earthly, but now it has transformed into something more cultural. The landmarks, ceramics, and colored glaze all highlight the city's cultural nature.
Official data shows that during the recent Dragon Boat Festival from May 31st to June 2nd, the city's cultural sites welcomed 500,000 tourists.
David Onotu, a poet and stage performer, arrives at a hair salon, one that's long been a space for women. He's getting his braids loosened, washed and redone.
So it gives me the freedom of expression because I'm not boxed in by ideologies. It also has to do with breaking gender stereotypes, bonding with family and friends, and also, like I said, they're low maintenance. Sometimes you get people who give me comments and compliment it, and I also get people who look at me a different type of way and they're not okay or cool with it. But either way, I think it's unique to me and I enjoy braiding my hair.
The hairstylists here are women, and lately they've seen more men coming in for braids. They say it's great for both business and creativity.
I don't see anything wrong in a man braiding his hair. For me, men even pay more than ladies, and I like that fact. When they come, I try to relate with them well, like let them not feel like we are being biased. So I try to carry them along so that they will feel comfortable, and some even come back again, and some even recommend some of their friends to come braid their hair.
People are trying to adapt into what is trending. So it's a way of life whereby people are just trying to adapt to fit into what is really trending in the whole world now.
But not everyone is on board. In many communities, elders still see male braids as rebellious or inappropriate. In April, the governor of Niger State in north-central Nigeria placed a ban on young men keeping braids and dreadlocks. He even ordered that anyone caught wearing them be arrested and shaved. But many young people and celebrities criticized the governor's stance, calling it reckless and unconstitutional. And for David Onotu and others like him, it's all about style, confidence and self-expression, no matter what society says.
An entire city block of historic buildings in Shanghai was recently moved in one gigantic piece by an army of mini robots. A 7,500-ton Shikumun-style building complex was relocated as a whole for renovation and underground development. Starting on May 19th, 432 small robots working in unison began moving the 4,000 square meter complex back to its original site by 10 meters per day. 3 weeks later, on June 3rd, the move was finished. The buildings were constructed in the 1920s and 30s and blend elements of Western architecture with traditional Jiangnan features. Some cities in China are turning forgotten factories into thriving economic hubs, not through demolition, but through smart, incremental renewal. In East China's Jinan City, the 579 Baigongji area, once a sprawling used goods market, has been turned into a vibrant cultural and tourism hotspot. The head of the project says the key to their success has been minor renovations with major impact.
Our minor renovations aren't just about bricks. It's about making small changes to bring about self-changes and achieving more by doing less. Of the 100,000 square meter complex, only 27,000 square meters underwent renovation. The remaining 73,000 square meters were just simply decorated.
The complex is now home to more than 50 companies, with its success inspiring similar renovations across the region. In Nanchang, the Donghu Yiku Park recently underwent a facelift, but kept 90% of its Suzhou-style architecture. The new Old Town feel has dramatically increased foot traffic.
It has greatly increased our foot traffic. We estimate about 300 visitors come here daily on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, often beyond our capacity to handle.
Experts say China's urban renewal isn't just about transforming cityscapes, but also about boosting domestic demand for quality development.
The renewal of old blocks and old factory areas is a key means to make spatial and quality improvements and to add vitality and new economic growth momentum to cities. By shifting functions, upgrading business forms, and creating consumption scenarios, cities can forge new consumption spaces that are more appealing.
So far, officials say over 100 renewal projects have been launched across the city.
An intersection near Harare Central Business District is where 15-year-old Tonderai, not his real name, has been selling airtime and snacks for the past 16 months. He was forced into the trade after the death of his father.
I stopped going to school because we didn't have enough money. I came to Harare to try to earn something to support mother and 4 siblings who live in the village.
He makes about $4 a day, enough to cover his $15 monthly rental and food, leaving him with about $50 to send to his mother.
I hope that one day I can save up about $200, which will be enough for me to go back to school.
His aspiration of resuming a normal childhood is in line with the International Labour Organization's goal to end child labour by 2030. Its latest report shows a reduction in prevalence in Africa from 23.9% in 2020 to 21.5% in 2024, though the continent still suffers the biggest burden.
The global figure is 138 million. The figure for sub-Saharan Africa is 86.6. So it means that 2/3 of child labor is in Africa, despite the progress. Africa, we still have some key developmental issues that we need to tackle, and if we are able to tackle them, then we will automatically also be able to tackle child labor.
Chief among these is poverty, a key driver in Zimbabwe.
The problem is economic factors. We have, because of the impact of HIV and AIDS, this has continued, it has had a downstream effect in terms of child labor. And also we have had, an increase in those who are, as I said, in the informal sector.
It's made things difficult for authorities.
Zimbabwe has passed robust laws that criminalize child labor. However, the practice remains rampant.
The government has been called on to enhance monitoring and law enforcement.
An innovative recycling initiative in East China's Zhejiang province is turning ocean plastic waste into wealth. At a fishing port in Guangzhou City, dozens of boats sit idle during the annual fishing moratorium. For local fishermen, this is the time to mend their nets or discard the ones that are beyond repair. But instead of ending up in the ocean, the worn-out nets and ropes are now recycled at the Blue Cycle recycling station, where fishermen can trade them in for money. The nets and ropes are then sent to other manufacturing companies that turn them into various consumer products like armrests for office chairs or vehicle cooling fans. A local stationery company says overseas demand is soaring for the products they make from recycled materials.
For example, when we export to some countries in Europe and America, with the recycling certificates, our clients pay far less tariffs, which helps them save costs. Our orders are visibly growing.
Each product carries a traceable history from the fisherman who collected it to the factory that processed it, a transparency that makes the entire cycle traceable, sustainable, and replicable.
Along the Bohai Bay coast, massive vessels dock at the port amidst the rhythmic crash of waves. On one of the world's largest cargo vessels, the MSC Tessa, Captain Rajiv Chauhan and his crew are busy at work handling goods. The vessel is carrying over 24,000 TEUs destined for Africa during this rotation, with Tianjin port included in its route.
It is a key port for our ship because, as in this time, we are loading close to 105,000 tons of cargo. So that is a lot of cargo for any port, which is almost 50% the capacity of our carrying capacity of the ship. Normally, you don't get so much cargo from any port in one go. So to get this much cargo, it is a very valuable port for us.
And soon, and welcome to the Tianjin port, one of the world's top 10 ports, linking over 500 ports across more than 180 countries and regions. And this is also the world's first fully automated zero-carbon port,
Leveraging 5G and AI, we've achieved fully automated operations throughout the entire process. The system now boosts overall efficiency by 30%. We now handle over 10,000 TUs per day. The entire process achieves true carbon-neutral status through green energy generated by our wind turbines and photovoltaic systems.
It now takes us just 90 seconds to pick up a single container, faster than before. With growing numbers of international vessels calling at Tianjin Port in recent years, we've streamlined operations to achieve higher clearance efficiency. Today, ships commence cargo operations immediately upon arrival and depart promptly upon completion, saving approximately 1 to 2 hours in port clearance time per vessel.
And faster cargo operations mean international ships spend less.
Time is very important for the ship because discharge on the other side as soon as possible.
100 million tons of cargo annually has established a global logistics artery bridging Asia and Europe. In the VR era, traditional cinemas are also transforming. At the end of April, a cinema in East China's Zhejiang province launched its first large-scale VR cinema project, featuring original interactive VR films that allow viewers to become part of the cinematic world. Recently, the company also produced a historically themed film, which combines education with entertainment. A VR film called 四天勇士, produced by a Hangzhou-based company, is Zhejiang's first VR film to receive official approval. The film narrates a fantastical astronomical journey at the Northern Song Dynasty's Astronomical Bureau. Viewers, guided by astronomer Su Song, witness the pinnacle of ancient astronomical instruments.
The astronomical clock tower, making it engaging because it encourages social interaction.
The production team has spent 2 years meticulously verifying the details of the film.
One of the most critical aspects involves the celestial globe. We researched astronomical data and individually adjusted star positions, which took about 2 to 3 months.
The film is nearing completion and will premiere in the second half of this year.
At the world's largest small commodities hub, Yiwu City in central China's Zhejiang province, every morning a daily ritual takes place to help bridge cultures and open doors to global business. Standing together in the lobby, more than 100 local shopkeepers sharpen their language skills, practicing English, Arabic, Russian, and Spanish to both help greet customers and secure sales. Vendors say since Yiwu is seeing more clients, the language classes have become very popular.
I just started learning this year. I used to run a factory elsewhere. Now I can understand a little, and I'm starting to get the hang of it.
Thanks to relaxed visa policies, Yiwu has seen a 22% surge in foreign buyers since last year. For merchants, every word learned is a chance to stand out.
I speak English, Arabic. If you speak their language, they feel at ease. Then they're more willing to give you their business.
Yiwu's been offering free language classes for the past 19 years, with languages like English, Russian, Korean, Spanish, and Arabic the most popular.
This year, we're holding 140 sessions, split into 7 stages, each lasting 20 days. Every session covers a different trade-related topic.
Recent data shows that in Q1 this year, Yiwu's exports were valued at roughly $20 billion, a 15% increase year on year. At this amusement park in East China's Nanchang City, drone delivery services are elevating the customer experience. The park features a service where customers can order beverages.
Fly to me. Pretty cool and definitely eye-catching. It's a unique experience.
While the upfront investment in drones is high, coffee shop staff say the benefits outweigh the expense in the long run.
Although the initial cost of purchasing drones may be a bit higher, it improves our delivery efficiency in the long run. This innovative delivery method is very popular among young consumers.
According to the industry research company Zero Power Intelligence Group, summer is coming, and that means water sports like paddleboarding, kayaking, and dragon boating are getting popular in South China's Guangzhou city. As an emerging water sport, paddleboarding appeals to all athletic abilities and ages, from children to middle-aged to seniors, and can be performed while standing, sitting, or even lying down. Liang, a paddleboard coach at a club in the city, says their workload has doubled since the start of summer.
Especially on weekends, our members have to queue for booking a class. Our club currently has over 2,000 to 3,000 students enrolled in paddleboarding classes.
According to city officials, 3 new water sport bases have been opened this year, with some 32,000 residents and tourists enjoying the facilities.
After 2 years as ECOWAS chair, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu hands over the reins to his Sierra Leonean counterpart, Julius Maada Bio.
A round of applause, please.
Bio promises to build on the solid foundation which his predecessor laid, restoring democracy, driving economic integration, rebuilding institutional trust, and most importantly, boosting regional security.
Terrorism, political instability, illicit arms flow, and transnational organized crimes continue to test the resilience of our nations and the effectiveness of our institutions. We must overhaul our collective security architecture, from intelligence sharing to rapid response, to confront new threats with unity and resolve.
Security concerns are mounting across the region. Insurgent attacks and cross-border crimes persist, especially in northern Nigeria, and Tinubu pushed for urgent action.
This is why the ECOWAS standby force must move from the concept to operational reality now. I am a little bit worried about the slow pace of its activation, which is taking longer than desired. We must act decisively to operationalize the ECOWAS standby force on the fight against terrorism to serve as an instrument for peace and stability for our region.
But funding remains a hurdle. The bloc needs $2.6 billion to deploy the force. Ministers have been tasked to find homegrown funding options.
We get frustrated by funding, and this is why you see many African peace support operations transitioning to United Nations to become United Nations missions. If you look around, this is what you'll find. So our leaders have now instructed the ministers to get together and come up with a proposal that they will look at.
The single currency plan is still on track for 2027. Despite tensions with breakaway states, ECOWAS will keep trade and travel links open as talks continue. President Biyo will lead the bloc at a critical time with pressure to turn pledges into progress.
She ran as fast as her little legs could carry her into the safety of her father's arms. Her mother followed breathless. Just hours earlier, they were fleeing bombs.
You know, war is not good. It's very bad. My family is there now, my mother, my brother, my friends. Everyone I love is still there. But I had to come here for my husband and my son.
They escaped in silence, but war follows every step. Her daughter too young to understand the explosions, but old enough to feel the fear.
My daughter was asleep during the blast. She didn't understand what was happening. I held her ears so she wouldn't hear it. Thank God, she didn't understand.
Across Turkey's eastern frontier, scenes like these are multiplying. Iranian civilians have been caught in the blast radius of the airstrikes, physically and emotionally.
I know people who were affected by strike, but still, some key sites were hit. The problem is that around those sites, there are innocent civilians, children. Some of them were martyred in the attack.
As the international community scrambles for de-escalation, those on the run are just hoping for one thing: peace. At the border between war and refuge, hope is fragile, but still alive.
Despite predictable weather and better farming methods, Rwandan farmers still store an extremely low amount of their harvest, according to the Seasonal Agriculture Survey 2025A. This has raised alarms over food security and household readiness for shocks like drought, price hikes, and supply disruptions. Farmers Wimana Francine and Alexandre Ndereyimana offer a succinct reason.
We don't have facilities are well disinfected.
I
believe that drying and storage facilities like the one shown here are key in improving food storage, especially in the eastern province, where maize is widely grown.
Post-harvest loss remain a key factor in low food storage levels across the country. Experts say poor handling of harvests is to blame. Abraham Matai, country manager of Africa Improved Foods, a leading manufacturer of fortified foods in the region, says maize and other grains are often rejected by buyers and processors due to poor storage and damage.
Given the agroclimatic conditions in Rwanda, where it is quite wet during the harvesting season, in 16-17 when we started, we were rejecting almost 90% of the grains that we were looking at. And aflatoxin is actually dangerous if people are exposed to it over a very long period of time. It can lead to a very high incidence of liver cancer.
Experts also suggest better practices would reduce post-harvest losses from 75% to 25% and increase the amount of food safely stored for both market supply and household consumption.
So it starts from right from the farming practices who work with agronomists, and they go to each of these farmers during the growing season and at the end of the season. So they actually help the farmers in terms of the right, farming practices, and they also advises the farmers the right time to harvest the crop.
Most of the harvest is quickly consumed, sold or used for seed, wages or batter, leaving no reserves. The government has now allocated almost $35 million to build shellers, drying machines and small silos for short-term storage. This is part of a broader strategy to improve both the quality and the quantity of food harvests and reserves. Africa Improved Foods had 10 silos here that can comfortably store 20 metric tons of soybeans and maize that can comfortably serve their market all year round. They believe that with the provision of such facilities across the country, it could go a long way in reducing post-harvest losses and improve the quality of their production.
These days, artisanal markets are brimming with creativity, drawing in people from all walks of life. These are places where new ideas get sparked, interesting products appear, and people come to shop and be inspired. Today, we're at the Prison Brae Market in Midrand, north of Johannesburg. But first, we discover how Naima Saru from Zanzibar is revolutionizing tarab music, a blend of Arabic, Indian and African styles from East Africa with her violin. Chef Sandy Shioli shows us that even the most sweet and exotic desserts can be healthier in Mauritius. Then Lesego Foster, an animator right here in Johannesburg, displays his talents on Disney+. I'm Palisa Dembe and this is Afrimax. Although denim is loved by all and therefore never fades from the fashion scene, it often causes a huge problem by producing too much waste. Now, Oche Aladdin Ma, a Nigerian fashion designer, has found a way to fight fast fashion with his iconic designs made of used denim.
Denim is the one fabric that can never go out of fashion. It is an evergreen and most especially worn by the Gen Z. Denim as fast fashion is a global phenomenon. However, this Nigerian enthusiast is on a mission to put an end to it. His brand focuses on creating fashionable and durable streetwear from recycled denim.
This is the sample material we'll be pairing with the old denim we got from the thrift markets. So this is the other parts we will use for the design we want to make.
Uche Aladdin Moore approached Gold to sell.
So this is where I buy most of my material for my designs. So what I look for specifically is jeans that they cannot sell. So I asked them the jeans they cannot sell. They call it Banza or condemned jeans. So those are the ones I go for. Those are the specific ones I buy.
Here in the market, more than 500 tons of denim are brought in from different countries every day. But not all of it is sold, as much of it is worn out or faded, which makes it unsuitable to wear. But this condemned denim is what Uche buys from the market. Instead of letting it end up in landfills, he takes it and refines it.
Uche is my customer. I used to sell jeans for him, condemned jeans. Instead of to throw it away, I sell it for him to go and construct it to his best.
Before redesigning, the denim has to be washed and dried. Ujay then sketches the style on paper before cutting the denim and then patterns it before sewing.
In this part of our world, not many people are familiar with upcycling. Most people, when they hear upcycling, they think it's okrika, second-hand clothes. So there's already a stigma.
It takes Ujay between 2 to 12 hours to make a piece. He also incorporates other sample materials, which he uses in upcycling the denim pieces depending on the preference of the clients. He makes outfits for both males and females and sells only online for as low as $10. Customers check up on his website and social media platforms to order. His brand is offering young adults the chance to make a fashion statement while also promoting sustainability.
So what attracted me to upscale clothing instead of new clothing is the fact that it's unique and the durability as well.
The brand specializes in streetwear with jackets, hoodies and trousers, but also in making bags and shoes. Experts believe Ujay's innovative approach is contributing to sustainability and reducing waste in the country.
This will make Nigeria be free of waste, most especially clothing waste. In using those ones, they try to curb the pollution that we emit into our environment. And this will make our environment sustainable, even by this goal that we have for Sustainable Developmental Goal by 2050. Nigeria will be at least to a largest free of waste because of these sustainable practices by these creative people.
My future plan for sustainable fashion is to expand what we do more research on more materials that we can upcycle and satisfy more people, more customers. And the more customer we satisfy, the more material that we are saving from going into waste.
Ujay is not only making it durable and fashionable for the demands of life on the streets, but also providing jobs for other young designers like him who are also pushing sustainability.
Now, the Prison Break Market's Crafters Shed is set to ignite your artistic imagination with its range of artisanal creations. Meeting me now to discuss the market and, of course, her approach to craftsmanship is Makosazana Sehwama. Makosazana, what made you decide to base your company here at the Prison Break Market?
When I first heard that they were building a space where creators could be able to work on site and be able to showcase their products, it sounds like a perfect space for me. And not only were we going to have a home, instead of being everywhere, going from market to market, we could be able to create on site.
Now, what products do you make?
All right, so my creative process is I use crochet. I'm a crocheter.
Can you show me how to make one?
Yeah, no, certainly. Let's get to it. Okay. All right. This is how it goes. So you always have your hook, right? And then so you just stitch just like that. And so it's always one stitch at a time, continuous until your basket is fully made.
I'm so impressed. She can do it without even looking. Okay, let me try.
Okay, good. So it's good I have to pull through the two loops all the way out. So I know it does require a bit.
Okay, that just means I need to practice a lot more. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Naima Saru, a true pioneer who is diving straight into the world of Taarab music as the first female violinist to ever play it. This vibrant East African musical tradition weaves in cultural stories and enchanting melodies straight from the lively heart of Zanzibar. Enjoy.
Can a simple violin revolutionize a musical tradition centuries old? Yes, if if it is played by a female violinist.
Not many girls in Zanzibar play musical instruments. I have been playing the violin for close to 10 years.
Neema Suri, the talented violinist, has boldly embraced the art of playing Taarab music, a cherished East African tradition which embodies rich cultural tales through melodies and is very common in Zanzibar.
Taarab is one of the earliest forms of music of Zanzibar and has both Arabic and Swahili influences. Zanzibar.
Hailing from the East African coast, Zanzibar and Mombasa, Taarab music is a vibrant genre blending Arabic, Indian and African flavors. Sung in Swahili, Arabic and local languages, Taarab's lyrics delve into themes of love, society and culture. This was first changed by Mariam Hamdani, Neema Suri's mentor and one of her biggest idols.
You'll be satisfied and comfortable. To get to the top, you have to begin with the basics. There'll come a time when you'll attain great heights. Just keep working hard and do not get tired of harnessing your gift.
In 2009, Mariam started the Taarab revolution by forming an all-female ensemble in Zanzibar called the Tausi Taarab Orchestra. Since then, Mariam and the 15 female musicians, all in their mid-20s to mid-60s, have represented Taarab music worldwide and thus become great role models for Neema.
I would like...
Let's do it.
Neema is on her way to gain international fame herself, working on her own interpretation of the classic Taarab.
There are many ways to modify Taarab. You can mix Taarab with fusion or Taarab with jazz, just to make it sound modern. In this journey, challenges are expected, especially when facing discouragement and disappointment from people who are close to you. I was privileged enough to get my very first violin when I passed my exams and won a competition here in school. This enabled me to get extra time to practice at home, since before I could only do it in school. Before I go on stage for a concert, I first tune my violin and then say a prayer to ease any tension. The song I'm about to play is called Kijiti, and I love this song because it's the first song I learned to play in Taarab.
Neema's dedication to honoring the essence of Taarab while exploring new frontiers has garnered widespread recognition in the music industry. Her innovative approach to bridging Taarab with the violin is an important step in safeguarding cultural legacies and opening doors for more females in music.
Now that I've learned a thing or two about crocheting, it's time for me to explore the rest of the market. What do you love the most about the prison break market?
I think that's the one thing that people need to look forward to here.